They took his daughter thinking he was just a simple farmer. But these Chicago mobsters have no idea they've targeted a decorated World War II commando with deadly skills and dark secrets. When Captain James Miller receives the ransom call, will his enemies discover too late that they've awakened a sleeping giant? The phone rings while I'm feeding the chickens on this cold October morning. My old bones ache from the coming frost, but I've worked this land for 30 years since coming home from the war. The hens scatter as I rush to the house, wiping my muddy boots on the porch steps. Something about that ring feels wrong. Nobody calls at 6 in the morning unless there's trouble. Miller Farm. I answer, my voice rough from years of cigarettes I quit too late. Listen carefully, Mr. Miller. The voice is deep, with a city accent that doesn't belong in our rural county. We have your daughter. My heart stops dead in my chest. The coffee mug slips from my fingers, shattering on the kitchen floor. Emma. My beautiful Emma, who just started her second year at State College. Who is this? What do you want? My voice sounds strange to my own ears. $50,000. Cash. You have 3 days. 50,000? I almost laugh through my panic. My farm barely breaks, even most years. I don't have that kind of money, I tell him, my free hand gripping the counter so hard my knuckles turn white. Then I suggest you find it, old man. Sell your farm. Rob a bank. I don't care. But if you call the police, we'll mail her back to you in pieces. I hear Emma scream in the background. The sound cuts through me like a bayonet. Daddy, help! Her voice cuts off suddenly. Proof of life, the man says coldly. 3 days. We'll call with drop instructions. The line goes dead. I stand frozen, coffee spreading across the worn linoleum floor. I stumble to the living room wall where Emma's college photo hangs next to her mother's. Sarah's been gone 7 years now. Cancer taking her too young. What would she tell me to do? These city gangsters think I'm just a simple farmer. They see an old man with calloused hands and a failing farm. They expect me to crumble like the dry soil beneath my boots. They don't know about the metals buried in my attic, wrapped in oilcloth alongside my service pistol. They don't know what I did in the European theater, the men I killed, the things I saw. Captain James Miller of the 101st Airborne wasn't someone to be trifled with. But that was decades ago. I'm 68 now, with a bad knee and hands that shake sometimes when I'm tired. I haven't held a weapon since 1945. I've spent 30 years trying to forget the war, trying to be just a farmer, a husband, a father. I stumble to my rocking chair and collapse, mind racing. Should I call Sheriff Dawson? He's a good man, but word travels fast in small towns. If the kidnappers have someone watching, Emma could pay the price. The bank won't loan me that kind of money. The farm is mortgaged to the hilt already. I could sell my tractor, my truck, but that wouldn't come close to 50,000. Outside, the rooster crows, oblivious to how my world has just shattered. The sun rises over the eastern fields, painting the sky blood red. I need to think clearly. These men, whoever they are, didn't pick my family randomly. Why Emma? Why us? I force myself to stand, legs shaking. First, I need to verify she's actually missing. I dial Emma's apartment with trembling fingers. No answer. I call her roommate Jenny, who answers sleepily. Mr. Miller? It's so early. Jenny, is Emma there? No, she went home last night. Some emergency with her uncle? A man came to get her with a message from you. My blood turns to ice. We have no living uncles. When exactly was this, Jenny? Around 8 last night. She packed a bag really quick. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. I lie. Just a mix-up. Go back to sleep. I hang up and stare out the window on my farm. The farm Emma grew up on, where she learned to ride a bike, where she helped deliver calves and collect eggs. The farm I promised Sarah I'd keep running, no matter what. I climb the narrow stairs to the attic, ducking under the low beams. In the corner, beneath loose floorboards, lies a small metal box I haven't opened in decades. Inside is my past, the past I never shared with Emma. She knows I served, of course, but she doesn't know what I did, the specialized training, the missions behind enemy lines, the nightmares that still wake me some nights. My fingers brush cool metal as I lift out my Colt .45. It feels both foreign and familiar in my hand, like greeting an old friend you've tried to forget. I check the mechanism, muscle memory taking over. It needs cleaning, but it will work. I load it with ammunition that's older than Emma and tuck it into my waistband. The phone rings again, making me jump. I race downstairs, nearly falling in my haste. Hello. Dad. Emma's voice is shaking, terrified. Dad, I'm scared. They say they'll hurt me if you don't pay. Emma, listen to me. Are you hurt? Where are you? I don't know. It's dark. There's a window, but it's covered. Dad, there's men with guns. A man's voice cuts in. That's enough family reunion. Remember, old man. 3 days. No police. The line goes dead again. I stand in my kitchen, surrounded by the ordinary things of my life. Sarah's faded curtains, Emma's high school graduation photo on the fridge, the stack of unpaid bills on the counter. 3 days to save my daughter's life. 3 days to become the man I left behind in Europe all those years ago. I look at my reflection in the window. The farmer is gone. Captain Miller is back. Blood pounds in my ears as I step onto my front porch. The morning sun can't burn away the chill that's settled in my bones. My neighbor Tom's rusty pickup truck kicks up dust on my driveway. He waves as he pulls up, but his smile fades when he sees my face. James? You look like you've seen a ghost. I've known Tom Harris for 20 years. We share tools, help with harvests, drink beers on Saturday nights. But can I trust him with this? With Emma's life at stake? Just didn't sleep well, I mutter. Tom climbs out of his truck, concern written across his weathered face. Well, I brought those tractor parts you asked for last week. He studies me closer. You sure you're okay? You're white as a sheet. I need allies, but I need to be careful. Tom, if you needed money fast, a lot of money, where would you get it? His eyebrows shoot up. Bank troubles again? I told you that new mortgage was trouble. It's not that. I hesitate, weighing my words. It's Emma. Some men have her. They want $50,000. Tom's face drains of color. Jesus Christ, James. We need to call Sheriff Dawson right now. I grab his arm as he reaches for his phone. No police. They said they'd kill her. Tom runs a hand through his thinning hair. Who would take Emma? This doesn't make sense. I don't know. But even as I say it, a cold feeling creeps on my spine. Maybe this isn't random at all. Come inside, I tell him, leading the way back into my kitchen. I pour us both coffee with shaking hands, spilling some on the counter. When did this happen? Tom asks, dropping his voice as if the kidnappers might be listening. They called this morning. Took her from college last night. Told her there was a family emergency. Tom's eyes narrow. But why your family? We're just farmers out here. Nobody has that kind of money. His words echo my thoughts from earlier, and something clicks in my brain. Maybe they don't want the money. Maybe that's just an excuse. What do you mean? I hesitate, then decide to trust my oldest friend. Tom, there's something about me you don't know. Something from before I moved here. I stand and lead Tom to the stairs. I need to show you something. In the attic, I pull out not just the metal box with my service pistol, but a larger wooden crate hidden behind old Christmas decorations. I blow dust off the top and unlatch it. I wasn't just any soldier in the war, I tell Tom as I open the lid. Inside are my uniforms, my jump wings, photographs of my unit, and the citations for my medals, including a silver star I've never displayed. Tom's eyes widen. 101st Airborne? You were a paratrooper? Not just that. I was part of a special reconnaissance unit. We dropped behind enemy lines before D-Day. Gathered intelligence, disrupted supply lines, removed. I pause. Obstacles. Understanding dawns on Tom's face. You were killing Nazis before the invasion. I nod grimly. My unit captured a high-ranking intelligence officer in '44. Friedrich Salvatore, Italian father, German mother. He had information about troop movements, weapons caches. After we question him, we send him to command. I lift a faded photograph from the crate. 5 young men in uniform, arms around each other's shoulders, exhausted but grinning. That's me. I point to a lean, hard-eyed soldier in the center. That's Marco Bellini. I indicate a dark-haired man to my right. We were close, like brothers. He was from Chicago. After the war, I lost touch with everyone except Danny. I point to another soldier. He died 10 years ago. Tom sits heavily on an old trunk. You think this has something to do with Emma's kidnapping? After all these years, I don't know, but the man on the phone had a Chicago accent. I rub my face. It can't be a coincidence. A sudden thought strikes me like lightning. I dig through the box frantically. What are you looking for? Tom asks. A notebook. Danny gave it to me before he died. Said I might need it someday. I thought he was just being dramatic. My fingers close around a small leather journal. Inside are names, addresses, phone numbers, some crossed out, some with notes beside them. Marco Bellini, I read. Last known address in Chicago, 1972. I flip pages. Here's a more recent note. Marco seen with Vittorio Salvatore, 1985. Tom's eyes widen. Salvatore? Like the Nazi officer you captured. His son. My mouth goes dry. Danny was keeping tabs on everyone, and he thought Marco was connected to the Salvatores. But why would they come after you now? After all this time? Before I can answer, the sound of breaking glass shatters the quiet. We rush to the small attic window. Black smoke billows from my barn. Fire, Tom shouts, already running for the stairs. We burst outside into the yard. Flames engulf the old wooden structure where I store hay, tools, and a few pieces of farm equipment I own. The heat hits us like a wall as we approach. The tractor, I yell, thinking of the loan I still owe on it. Too late, Tom grabs my shoulder. It's gone, James. We need to call the fire department before it spreads to the house. As he pulls out his phone, my eye catches movement near the tree line. A figure watches us from the shadows. When our eyes meet, he doesn't run. Instead, he steps forward just enough for me to see his face. Older, lined, but I'd know it anywhere. Marco, I whisper. The man raises his hand in what might be a salute, then disappears into the woods. Tom follows my gaze. Who's that? Did you see someone? The phone in my pocket vibrates. The caller ID shows unknown. Yes. I answer, my mouth dry. Like our warning, Captain Miller. The same voice from this morning. The barn today. Tomorrow. Maybe we start sending pieces of your daughter back? Clock's ticking. How do I know she's still alive? I demand. There's a pause. Then Emma's voice comes on the line. Dad? Dad, please help me. I'm coming for you, Emma. I promise before the kidnapper takes back the phone. $50,000, Captain. And we want something else, too. The documents your unit took from my father. My blood turns to ice. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, old man. The intelligence reports. The names. Bring everything to the abandoned Wright warehouse at midnight tomorrow. Come alone or she dies. The line goes dead. Tom stares at me as fire engines wail in the distance. James, what documents is he talking about? What names? I look toward the woods where Marco disappeared. I don't know, but I think Marco does. I check my pistol, tucking it back into my waistband, and I'm going to find him. The fire trucks arrive, red lights flashing against the smoke-filled sky. As the firefighters jump out, I slip away toward the tree line, following the path where I saw Marco. Behind me, my barn collapses in a shower of sparks and flames, taking with it the simple farmer's life I thought I had built. The woods behind my farm are thick with autumn colors, leaves crunching under my boots as I follow Marco's trail. My breath comes out in white puffs in the cold air. Behind me, my barn still smolders. Ahead, only questions. Why is Marco here after all these years? Is he working with the Salvatores? Did he betray Emma? The trail leads to Clover Creek, where an old fishing cabin sits weathered and gray against the trees. Smoke curls from the chimney. Someone's home. I check my pistol, the weight strange but comforting in my hand. The skills from 30 years ago rush back. How to move silently, how to approach from the blind side, how to control my breathing. I circle the cabin, peering through a dirty window. Marco sits at a wooden table, head in his hands, a bottle of whiskey beside him. He looks old, broken, not the smiling young soldier who saved my life twice in France. I could shoot him now through the glass. Part of me wants to. Instead, I kick the door open, pistol aimed at his chest. Hello, Marco. He doesn't even flinch. I wondered how long it would take you. His voice is rough with age and alcohol. Still moving well for an old man, Jimmy. Where's my daughter? I demand, stepping inside, but keeping the gun steady. Marco pours himself another drink with shaking hands. I don't know exactly. One of Vittorio's warehouses, I think. Vittorio Salvatore? The name tastes bitter in my mouth. Friedrich's son? Marco nods wearily. He's been looking for you for years. Ever since his father died in '83. I moved closer, keeping the pistol trained on him. Why now? Why Emma? Because of the files, Jimmy. He found out they exist. My confusion must show on my face, because Marco laughs bitterly. You really don't know? About the documents our unit took from Friedrich? We sent everything to command. I insist. You know that. Marco takes a long swallow of whiskey. Not everything. The captain kept some files. Insurance, he called it. Captain Roberts. Dead at Bastogne with half our unit. A good man, but cautious. Always planning 3 steps ahead. What files? I press. Names. Dates. Bank accounts. Marco's eyes meet mine, haunted. A list of every American businessman who worked with the Nazis, who helped them hide money, art, gold before the end of the war. Powerful people, Jimmy. People who became even more powerful after the war. I lower my gun slowly as the pieces click into place. And Vittorio thinks I have these files. Marco nods. His father told him about them before he died. Said our unit took them during the interrogation. Vittorio's been obsessed with finding them ever since. But I don't have them. I know. Marco's voice drops. But I think I might know who does. The air in the cabin feels suddenly colder. Danny, Marco continues. He contacted me about 10 years ago. Said he found something in the captain's things after the war. Something big. He was scared, Jimmy. Said people were watching him. Danny, my old friend. The only one I'd kept in touch with after the war. Danny's been dead for years. I say, are you sure about that? Marco's eyes are sharp now, cutting through the alcohol haze. Did you see the body? My mind races back. The phone call from Danny's daughter. The small funeral in Kansas. The closed casket because the car crash had been so bad. You think he faked his death? Even saying it out loud sounds crazy. Marco shrugs. All I know is he was scared. Then he was dead. And the files disappeared again. I holster my pistol and sink into the chair across from him. So Vittorio took Emma thinking I have these files? That I know where Danny is? Probably. Marco pushes the whiskey bottle toward me. I ignore it. Why didn't you warn me? Why are you working with him? Pain flashes across Marco's face. They have my grandchildren, Jimmy. My daughter doesn't even know. They've been using me to find you for years. He pulls out his wallet with trembling hands, shows me a photo of 2 small children, Sophia and Antonio. They'll kill them if I don't help. The rage that's been building in me deflates. I understand family loyalty all too well. What do they want me to do? I ask. Bring the files to the old Wright warehouse at midnight tomorrow. Or tell them where Danny is. But I don't know either of those things. Marco looks at me solemnly. Then you'd better figure out quick, or Emma's dead. I stand up, my mind racing. I need to find Danny, or at least figure out what happened to him. Vittorio's men are watching your farm, Marco warns. They'll follow you. Let them, I say grimly. I've got nothing to hide because I don't know anything. Marco stands too, shakily. I have to get back before they notice I'm gone. They got a man watching my grandkids while I'm here. He hesitates, then pulls something from his pocket. Take this. It's all I have left from Danny. It's a faded photograph, creased and worn. Our unit in front of French farmhouse. Me, Marco, Danny, the captain, and Johnson, who didn't make it home. But there's something scribbled on the back in Danny's messy handwriting. When the devil comes calling, remember where the angels fell. What does it mean? I ask. Marco shakes his head. I don't know, but Danny made me promise to give it to you if anything happened to him. I tuck the photo into my shirt pocket. I'm going to find Emma, and then I'm going to find Vittorio Salvatore and make him pay. The Jimmy Miller I knew died in the war, Marco says quietly. You've been playing farmer for too long. I think of the nightmares that still wake me. The faces of men I've killed. The sound of bones breaking under my hands. That Jimmy Miller has been waiting to come back, I tell him. As I turn to leave, Marco calls after me. Be careful, old friend. Vittorio isn't his father. He's worse. Cold. Calculating. I've dealt with worse. I say, though I'm not sure it's true. Outside, the afternoon sun slants through the trees. I have 36 hours to save my daughter. 36 hours to solve a mystery from 30 years ago. And somewhere out there is Danny, dead or alive, with the answers. I start walking back toward my farm, mind spinning. When the devil comes calling, remember where the angels fell. What did Danny mean? Angels falling makes me think of paratroopers. Our unit. And suddenly, with crystal clarity, I know exactly where to start looking. The drive to Danny's old house takes 3 hours, my truck eating up the miles as the sun begins to set. My mind keeps seeing Emma's face, hearing her terrified voice on the phone. I grip the steering wheel tighter. I won't fail her. Danny's property sits abandoned at the end of a long dirt road, the mailbox rusted and tilting. According to his daughter, no one's lived here since the funeral. The for sale sign is weathered and faded. Not many people want a house this far from anywhere. I park and approach carefully, watching for signs of anyone else. The tall grass whispers against my legs. The porch steps creak under my weight, loud in the country silence. The front door is locked, but I find a spare key where it always was, under the ceramic frog by the back door. Inside, the house smells of dust and abandonment. Sheets cover the furniture like ghosts. Sunlight slants through dirty windows, painting stripes across the wooden floor. I stand very still, listening. Only silence. When the devil comes calling, remember where the angels fell. Angels. Paratroopers. Danny and I used to joke that we were angels of death, falling from the sky. But what else? Something specific about this house. I move through the rooms slowly, searching for clues. Danny's office is untouched. Desk, bookshelves, filing cabinets. Nothing seems unusual until I notice a painting on the wall. It shows paratroopers jumping from a plane, their parachutes like white flowers against the dark sky. Angels falling. I whisper, moving closer. Behind the painting is a wall safe. My heart pounds as I try to think like Danny. What would he use as a combination? I try his birthday. Nothing. His wife's birthday. Nothing. Then I try the date of our first combat jump. June 6th, 1944. D-Day. The safe clicks open. Inside is a thick manila envelope marked with a single word. Jimmy. My hands shake as I open it. Photographs spill out. Documents. Letters. A small key taped to a piece of paper with an address in Kansas City. And a handwritten note in Danny's familiar scrawl. Jimmy, if you're reading this, then they found me. The files are hidden where no one will look. The key opens a locker at the Kansas City bus terminal. Inside is everything you need. Trust no one, not even Marco. They're everywhere. I'm sorry to bring this to your door, but you're the only one I can trust. Watch your back. They'll kill for these files. Danny. I stare at the note, my blood turning cold. Danny knew they were coming for him. He planned for it, and he sent me a warning from beyond the grave. The sound of tires on gravel shatters the silence. Someone's coming. I quickly pocket the key and address, stuffing the envelope inside my jacket. Moving to the window, I peer through dusty curtains. A black sedan parks behind my truck. 2 men in dark suits step out, looking around cautiously. Not locals. Not with those suits and city haircuts. My gut tells me they're Salvatore's men, and they've been following me. I slip out the back door as they approach the front, keeping low in the tall grass. I circle wide around the property, using overgrown hedges as cover. One man stays on the porch while the other heads behind the house, hand inside his jacket where a gun would be. My old training takes over. I become a ghost, moving silently through the brush. The second man passes within 3 feet of me without noticing. I hold my breath until he's passed, then continue my circle toward my truck. The first man kicks in Danny's front door. I hear wood splintering, then voices shouting inside the house. I don't have much time. I reach my truck, slide in quietly, and turn the key. The engine roars to life, and I stomp on the gas, spinning gravel as I accelerate down the driveway. In the rearview mirror, I see the men running from the house, shouting and pulling guns. Too late. I'm already turning onto the main road, pushing my old truck faster than it's gone in years. The black sedan follows, but I know these country roads better than they do. I take a sharp turn onto a narrow farm track, then cut across an open field, bouncing wildly over the uneven ground. By the time I reach the highway, the sedan is nowhere in sight. But I know they're still coming. They'll track me to Kansas City. I need to move fast. Night has fallen by the time I reach the city. The bus terminal is nearly empty. Just a few tired travelers dozing on plastic chairs. I find the lockers along the back wall, scanning for the number on Danny's note. Locker 217. The key fits perfectly. Inside is another envelope, thicker than the first. My hands shake as I open it. Photographs, documents, bank records, all pointing to the same terrible truth. American business leaders, politicians, even military officers who worked with the Nazis during the war, who helped them hide their stolen wealth, their looted art, their gold. Names that would shake the foundations of the country if revealed. And at the bottom of the stack, a familiar name jumps out at me. Salvatore. Not Friedrich or Vittorio, but Robert Salvatore, a wealthy Chicago businessman. According to Danny's notes, Robert helped Friedrich and other Nazi officers smuggle gold from Europe before the end of the war. Robert Salvatore, Vittorio's uncle. Now I understand. These files aren't just history. They're a threat to powerful people who are still alive. People who would kill to keep their secrets buried. My phone rings, startling me. Unknown number. Yes. I answer cautiously. Time's running out, Miller. Vittorio's voice is calm, almost friendly. Did you find what I'm looking for? I found some Danny's old things, I say carefully. But no files about your father. Don't lie to me. His voice hardens. My men saw you at the house. They know you found something. I stay silent, mind racing. Let me speak to Emma. I demand finally. There's a pause, then Emma's voice comes on the line. Dad? Dad, please just give them what they want. Emma, listen to me. I'm coming for you. I promise. Be brave, baby girl. Vittorio takes back the phone. Very touching. Bring everything you found to the right warehouse at midnight. No police, no tricks. Where your daughter dies screaming. The line goes dead. I check my watch. 3 hours until midnight. Not much time to prepare. As I drive back toward my farm, I think about calling Sheriff Dawson. But who knows how far Salvatore's influence reaches. The files in my passenger seat implicate some of the most powerful people in the country. I can't trust anyone. I pull over at a roadside diner. Ordering coffee, I don't drink while I think. The files are my only leverage. If I hand them over, Vittorio has no reason to keep Emma alive. If I don't, he'll kill her for sure. Unless I can find a third option. An old payphone stands outside the diner. I drop in coins with trembling fingers and dial a number I haven't called in years. Hello. A woman's sleepy voice answers. Catherine, it's James Miller. Danny's friend. Silence, then. Uncle Jimmy? Dad told me you might call someday. He said if you did, I should tell you about the other key. My heart skips a beat. What other key? Dad left a safety deposit box at First National Bank. Said it was insurance. The key is taped under my kitchen sink. He made me promise only to tell you if you called and specifically mention his name. I need that key, Catherine. It's about Emma. She's in trouble. 20 minutes later, I'm back on the road with a new destination. An hour after that, I have the contents of Danny's safety deposit box, a small USB drive, and a handwritten note. Digital backup of everything. Use it wisely. Now I have a plan. A dangerous one, but the only chance to save Emma. As I drive toward the abandoned Wright warehouse, I call Tom from a gas station payphone. Tom, I need your help, I say when he answers. No questions, just listen carefully. Midnight approaches as I pull up to the warehouse, a looming shadow against the night sky. The envelope of files sits heavy in my jacket. The USB drive is hidden elsewhere, my insurance policy. I check my gun one last time, knowing I might not leave this place alive. But if I don't, Emma will. That's all that matters now. Taking a deep breath, I step out of my truck and walk toward the warehouse door. Light spills from beneath it. They're waiting for me. I push the door open, stepping from darkness into harsh fluorescent light. The warehouse is mostly empty, just some old machinery and crates. In the center stands Vittorio Salvatore, silver-haired and elegant in an expensive suit. 4 men with guns flank him. And there, tied to a chair with tape across her mouth, is Emma. Her eyes widen when she sees me. She tries to speak through the tape, shaking her head frantically. Captain Miller, Vittorio says smoothly. Right on time. I appreciate punctuality in a man. Did you bring what I asked for? I keep my eyes on Emma as I slowly reach into my jacket. I wonder where she walks out of here unhurt. Vittorio smiles thinly. Of course. This is just business. No need for anyone to get hurt if you cooperate. Let her go first, I say. Then you get the files. Vittorio laughs. That's not how this works, old man. Files first. I pull out the envelope slowly. It's all here. Everything Danny had about your father. About your Uncle Robert and the Nazi gold. Vittorio's smile falters slightly at the mention of his uncle. Very good. Bring them here. I walk forward cautiously, envelope extended. One of Vittorio's men takes it, handing it to his boss. As Vittorio starts to examine the contents, a new voice calls from the shadows. Hello, Jimmy. It's been a long time. I turn slowly, disbelieving. Walking from behind a stack of crates is a face I thought I'd never see again. Danny. Alive. Danny. The name escapes my lips as a whisper. My dead friend stands before me, older but unmistakably alive. His hair has gone white, his face more lined, but those sharp eyes still burn with intelligence. Vittorio looks between us, smiling coldly. You see, Captain Miller, I've had your friend as my guest for quite some time. We've been having fascinating conversations about the war, about your unit, about those missing files. Emma makes muffled sounds behind her gag, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. I want to run to her, but two of Vittorio's men move forward, blocking my path. Ow! I asked Danny, my voice hoarse with shock. Your daughter told me you were dead. There was a funeral. Danny's smile is sad. Catherine did what I told her to. She's a good girl. He turns to Vittorio. I kept my end of the bargain. I brought him here. Now let the girl go. Vittorio laughs, the sound echoing in an empty warehouse. Patience. First, I need to verify these files are complete. He gestures to one of his men, who brings a laptop. Vittorio begins feeding papers into a scanner, his eyes darting over the information appearing on the screen. What have you done, Danny? I ask, my voice low. Danny won't meet my eyes. What I had to do to stay alive. I'm sorry, Jimmy. He's been quite cooperative, Vittorio says without looking up from the laptop. Ever since my men found him instead of his faked accident. Amazing what people will do when properly motivated. I look at Danny's hands and notice for the first time that 2 fingers are missing from his left hand. My stomach turns. I held out for a long time, Danny says, following my gaze. But everyone breaks eventually. Vittorio makes a dissatisfied sound. These appear to be the original documents, but where's the master list? He looks up at me, eyes cold. The index that ties everything together? The one with my uncle's name and all the others. I don't know what you're talking about. I say truthfully. Vittorio nods to one of his men, who rips the tape from Emma's mouth. She gasps in pain. Dad, she cries. Don't give them anything. They're going to kill us anyway. The man backhands her hard across the face. Blood trickles from her split lip. My vision goes red with rage. I lunge forward, only to be grabbed by 2 of Vittorio's men. They force me to my knees, a gun pressed to the back of my head. Where's the complete set of files? Vittorio asks calmly. I gave you everything I found. I insist. Vittorio sighs dramatically. I was hoping to avoid unnecessary unpleasantness. He pulls a knife from inside his jacket. Perhaps your daughter can help refresh your memory. He walks toward Emma, the blade glinting in the harsh light. Stop, Danny shouts suddenly. I have what you want. The complete set. Digital copies. Vittorio turns, eyebrows raised. Where? Danny pulls a flash drive from his pocket. Insurance policy. In case you decided to kill me after you got what you wanted. Vittorio's smile doesn't reach his eyes, which I still might. He takes the drive and hands it to his man at the laptop. Verify this. While they're distracted, I make eye contact with Emma. I nod slightly toward the door, trying to communicate my plan. Her eyes widen slightly in understanding. It's password protected, Danny says. I'll need to enter it myself. Vittorio gestures to the laptop. Danny types slowly, his remaining fingers awkward on the keyboard. There, he says, stepping back. Everything my captain took from Friedrich Salvatore in 1944. Names, accounts, connections. Your family's Nazi collaboration in all its glory. Vittorio's face darkens as his man scrolls through the files. My family did what was necessary to survive, to protect our interests. My father was a patriot, just for a different side than yours. He was a Nazi, I spit, and you're no better. Vittorio smiles thinly. Better is subjective, Captain Miller. But alive? Alive is objective. And sadly, you and your daughter won't be among the living much longer. He nods to his men. Kill them all. Make it look like a drug deal gone wrong. As the men raise their guns, the warehouse is suddenly plunged into darkness. The power has been cut, just as I arranged with Tom. In the momentary confusion, I drive my elbow back hard into the stomach of the man behind me. His gun fires, the muzzle flash briefly illuminating the chaos. I hear Emma scream, Danny shout, men cursing in the darkness. I roll to the side, feeling for my concealed pistol. Another gunshot. Someone falls heavily nearby. I crawl toward where Emma was sitting, guided by her frightened breathing. Emma, I whisper. It's me. I find her chair, my fingers working at the ropes, binding her wrists. Outside, car engines roar to life. Tom with the sheriff right on time. Dad, she whispers back. There's something I need to tell you. Her words are cut off by more gunfire, closer this time. A bullet ricochets off the concrete floor beside us. Later, I promise, finally freeing her hands. Now we run. I pull her up, and we stumble toward what I hope is the exit, staying low. The emergency lights flicker on, casting an eerie red glow over the warehouse. I see Danny grappling with one of Vittorio's men near the laptop. Vittorio himself is nowhere to be seen. We're almost to the door when a shot rings out behind us. Emma cries out, stumbling against me. My heart stops. Emma, I'm okay, she gasps. It just grazed me. Blood darkens her sleeve, but she's right. It's just a graze. Relief floods me, quickly replaced by cold fury. I push her behind a stack of crates. Stay here, I command. Sheriff Dawson is outside. When you hear me call your name, run for the door. Dad, no, but I'm already moving back into the warehouse, pistol ready. Danny is on the ground, blood pooling beneath him. Two of Vittorio's men are down as well. The others are retreating toward a back exit, taking the laptop and files with them. And there, emerging from behind a forklift, is Vittorio himself, gun raised. Our eyes meet across the warehouse. For a moment, we're frozen in a standoff, two old soldiers from different sides of a war that never really ended. Then we both fire at the same time. I feel the punch of the bullet before I hear the sound. Hot pain blossoms in my shoulder, spinning me half around. But my own shot finds its target. Vittorio clutches his chest, a look of surprise on his face as he crumples to the floor. Outside, sirens wail. The sheriff and his deputies will be here any second. I stagger to Danny's side, pressing my hand to the wound in his stomach. Jimmy, he gasps. I tried to protect you all these years. Save your strength, I tell him. Help is coming. He grips my arm with bloody fingers. The files that implicate powerful people, people still in government, big companies, they'll never stop coming. I'll handle it, I promise. Danny's eyes drift past me, widening slightly. Behind you, I turn to see Vittorio rising to one knee, gun raised for a final shot. I dive to the side as he fires, the bullet missing me by inches. I return fire, twice, center mass, just like they taught us in the war. Vittorio falls for the last time, his gun clattering across the concrete floor. Emma, I shout. Now! She runs from her hiding place toward the exit. As she passes, a shaft of light from the opening door illuminates something strange. A small tattoo on her wrist I've never seen before. Some kind of shield or badge. The door bursts open and Sheriff Dawson leads his deputies in, guns drawn. Tom is right behind them. James! Tom calls. Thank God you're alive. I wave weakly, the pain in my shoulder suddenly overwhelming. As darkness closes in around me, my last thought is of that strange tattoo on my daughter's wrist and Danny's words echoing in my head. They'll never stop coming. I wake up in a hospital room, the steady beep of monitors filling the silence. My shoulder is heavily bandaged, pain throbbing beneath the medication's fog. Sunlight streams through the window. I've been out for hours. Welcome back, old man. My eyes focus on Tom, sitting in a chair beside my bed. He looks exhausted, his clothes rumpled as if he's been here all night. Emma. I croak, my throat dry. Tom's face softens. She's fine, getting her arm bandaged in another room. Sheriff Dawson's with her. Relief floods through me. And Danny. Tom's expression tells me everything. I'm sorry, James. He didn't make it. I close my eyes, grief washing over me. Danny, who I thought was dead already, now truly gone. After everything he went through, everything he tried to do to protect us. The others? I asked. Vittorio Salvatore is dead. 2 of his men were killed in the shootout. The rest got away with the files. I let out a slow breath. Not all of them. Tom leans forward. What do you mean? With effort, I reach for the water glass beside my bed. Tom helps me drink before I continue. I made a copy of everything. I whisper. The USB drive is hidden in the lining of my boot. The one I taught Emma about when she was little. Our emergency hiding place. Tom's eyes widen. Jesus, James. Those files must be dynamite if Salvatore was willing to kill for them. They are, I confirm. Names of powerful people who collaborated with the Nazis. People still in positions of power. The door opens, and Sheriff Dawson enters. He's a big man with a perpetually worried expression, now deepened by the events of last night. Miller, he nods. You've got some explaining to do. Got 2 dead mobsters and a Chicago crime boss in my jurisdiction. Not to mention a firefight in an abandoned warehouse. They kidnapped my daughter. I say simply. Dawson sighs. Yeah, that's what you said too. But there's more to this story, isn't there? Something about your war service. I glance at Tom, who nods slightly. My unit captured a Nazi intelligence officer in 1944. He had documents implicating American businessmen and politicians who helped the Nazis. His son wanted those documents back. And you had them all this time? No, I shake my head. My friend Danny did. He's the one who died at the warehouse. Dawson frowns. The old man with white hair? Paramedic said he kept repeating something before he died. The angels know. Mean anything to you? My mind races. The angels know. Another clue from Danny. The angels falling. Paratroopers. The painting in his house. Was he trying to tell me? Probably just delirium, I say. Dawson doesn't look convinced. There's something else, he says reluctantly. Your daughter, she's not being entirely truthful with us. Says she's just a college student, but when we were treating her wound, nurse noticed a shoulder holster. And she's got some kind of government issue ID she won't show us. My heart stutters. The tattoo I saw. The strange competence she showed during our escape. What are you saying? I'm saying I made some calls. Got a very interesting response. There's a federal agent on the way here now. Want to talk to both of you. Dawson leaves, and I turn to Tom in confusion. What the hell is going on? Tom looks as bewildered as I feel. I don't know, but I don't like it. These files, whatever they are, they've got people with serious power worried. An hour later, the door opens again. Emma walks in, her arm bandaged, but otherwise looking remarkably composed for someone who was kidnapped and shot at. Behind her is a tall, stern-looking woman in a dark suit. Dad, Emma says, her voice steadier than I've ever heard it. This is Agent Kelly. We need to talk. Agent Kelly shuts the door firmly behind her. Mr. Miller, I'm with the FBI. Your daughter has been working with us for the past 18 months. I stare at Emma, uncomprehending. You're with the FBI? But you're in college. Emma smiles sadly. That's my cover, Dad. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you. Tell me what? I demand, trying to sit up despite the pain. About Operation Paperclip Legacy, Agent Kelly says, we've been investigating the descendants of Nazi collaborators who maintained their networks after the war. Your friend Danny contacted us 2 years ago with information about documents your unit seized in 1944. My head spins. Danny was working with the FBI? Not exactly, Emma says. He was scared, wanted protection. He reached out to his old war buddy first, but couldn't reach you. So he contacted his daughter, who contacted us. When we realized the magnitude of what he had, we put an agent with him. I say, the pieces falling into place. Emma nods. I was sent to protect him and secure the files. But Salvatore's people got to him first. Made it look like he died in that car crash. We lost track of him until 6 months ago. Why didn't you tell me? I ask, hurt piercing through my confusion. National Security, Agent Kelly cuts in. This operation is classified at the highest levels. The files implicate current government officials, corporate leaders, people with the power to bury this investigation if they knew about it. Tom stands up. I should go. This sounds like family business. Actually, Mr. Harris, Agent Kelly says, I'd like you to stay. According to Sheriff Dawson, you've been helping Mr. Miller. We may need your assistance too. Tom sits down slowly, looking uncomfortable. The files, I remember suddenly. Some of Salvatore's men escaped with them. Not all of them, Emma says with a small smile. I managed to corrupt the files on a laptop while they were scanning them. And we've got your backup copy. I look at my daughter, really look at her for the first time. Not as my little girl, but as the strong, capable woman she's become. A federal agent, fighting dangerous people, putting herself in harm's way. I'm proud of you, I say finally, but also terrified. These people killed Danny. They'll come after you too. Emma takes my hand. That's why we need to disappear for a while. All of us. Until we can go public with the files. Witness protection? I ask, looking at Agent Kelly. She nods grimly. Something like that, but even more secure. Off the books. Too many people in the program have connections to the names in these files. My farm, I protest weakly. My home, we'll be here when you get back, Emma promises. If we do this right, we'll expose people who've been hiding behind power and money for generations. Nazi collaborators and their descendants, still profiting from what they did during the war. I think of Danny, of the sacrifice he made, of the men in my unit who died, never knowing what we were really fighting for. When do we leave? I ask. Tonight, Agent Kelly says. As soon as you're stable enough to move. We have a safe house prepared. She leaves to make arrangements, and I'm left with Emma and Tom. The room falls into silence. I can't ask you to come with us, I tell Tom. You've done enough already. Tom snorts. Like hell you can't. My farm's been failing for years anyway. And who's going to water your crops while you're gone? Emma looks between us, smiling slightly. Dad always said you were the stubbornest man in the county. Second stubbornest. Tom corrects, nodding at me. Your father's got me beat. A knock at the door interrupts us. A nurse enters with medication, checking my vitals efficiently. You're healing well, she says. Doctor says you can be discharged tomorrow morning. After she leaves, Agent Kelly returns. Change of plans. We're moving tonight. There's been unusual activity around the hospital. Multiple unfamiliar vehicles in the parking lot. Emma tenses immediately, hand moving to her side where I suspect she's carrying a weapon. How did they find us so quickly? Someone must have talked, Agent Kelly says grimly. We need to move now. Tom peeks through the blinds. Black SUV just pulled up. 2 men getting out, wearing suits. Not FBI. Agent Kelly confirms, drawing her weapon. Emma, get your father ready to move. I'll call for backup. Emma helps me sit up, pain shooting through my shoulder. Can you walk, Dad? I fought in Normandy with shrapnel in my leg. I remind her. I can walk. As Emma disconnects the monitoring equipment, I notice something on Agent Kelly's wrist as she speaks urgently into her phone. A small tattoo identical to the one I saw on Emma's wrist. A shield or badge of some kind. Emma, I whisper. That symbol on your wrist. What is it? She glances at it, then at me, hesitation crossing her face. It's nothing, Dad. Just a reminder. But I've seen that symbol before. Recently. In Danny's files. It wasn't a government badge at all, but something much older. Something that made my blood run cold when I recognized it. Before I could say anything more, the hospital room door bursts open. 2 men in suits stand there, guns raised. But they're not looking at me or Emma. They're aiming at Agent Kelly. Down, I shout, throwing myself at Emma as gunfire erupts in the small room. We crash to the floor behind the bed as Tom dives for cover near the window. When I look up, Agent Kelly is exchanging fire with the men, moving with practiced efficiency. But something's wrong. She's not shooting to kill, just to drive them back. Emma, I gasp, grabbing her arm. She's not FBI. Look at her tattoo. Emma's eyes widen as she finally notices what I've seen. The symbol on Agent Kelly's wrist, identical to the one in Danny's files labeling the inner circle of American Nazi sympathizers. We've been played, I whisper. She wants the files for herself. The realization dawns on Emma's face just as Tom smashes the window with a chair. This way, he shouts over the gunfire. We have seconds to decide. Trust Agent Kelly, or take our chances with escape. Emma meets my eyes, and I see her decision mirror my own. Without a word, we scramble toward the broken window, toward uncertainty, but away from the lies that have followed us since that fateful day in 1944 when my unit captured a Nazi officer with secrets that would change our lives forever. Marco stepped out of his truck with his hands raised high in the air. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye. The headlights cast long shadows across his worried face. James, you need to listen to me right now. It's not what you think. I kept my pistol aimed at his chest, not trusting the man who had betrayed me to Salvatore. The cold night air filled my lungs as I tried to steady my breathing. You've got 30 seconds before I leave you on this road, I growled. Marco's eyes darted to the trees around us. Michael never betrayed you. He's been working for the FBI for 3 years. He joined Salvatore's crew to gather evidence against them. My finger eased off the trigger slightly. My son wouldn't keep something like that from me. After your big fight, he wanted to make things right. He discovered Salvatore was moving into the county, so he contacted the FBI. He's been undercover ever since. Tom stepped forward from behind my truck. It's true, James. I've been his local contact. The revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. My own neighbor involved in this too? The trap at the mill isn't for Michael. Marco continued urgently. It's for you. Salvatore thinks you'll bring the documents there to trade for Emma. But if you go in alone, you're dead. I lower my gun slowly, my mind racing to piece everything together. If Michael was FBI, then what about? Tom pulled out his phone and tapped the screen with a shaking finger. There's something else you should know, James. He held up the phone. On the screen was a video of Emma, but not like the one Salvatore had shown me. She wasn't blindfolded or tied up. Instead, she wore a bulletproof vest over a dark shirt. Her face was focused and serious as she checked a handgun with practiced movements. Your daughter followed in your footsteps more than you knew, Tom said quietly. I stared at the video in disbelief. That's not possible. Emma is in college studying agriculture. Agriculture was her cover, Marco explained. Emma is Federal Agent Miller. She's been tracking Salvatore's connection to international weapons dealing for the past year. My legs felt weak. I leaned against the truck, trying to make sense of it all. My little girl, who used to sit on my lap while I drove the tractor, was now carrying a gun and chasing criminals. Why didn't she tell me? I whispered. The same reason you never told your children about your past, Tom replied. To protect them. A wave of shame washed over me. All these years, I'd hidden my war experiences, thinking I was shielding my family from the darkness. Instead, my children had walked into that same darkness alone. Both your kids were fighting this battle while you hid on your farm with your secrets and regrets. Marco said, so Emma's kidnapping. I began. Was staged, Tom finished. But something went wrong. Salvatore discovered Michael's real identity yesterday. The operation was supposed to end with arrests at the warehouse, but Salvatore escaped. Now he's using the situation to flush you out, to get the documents he believes you have. And Michael, I asked, my throat tight with fear. He's still maintaining his cover, but he's in serious danger, Marco said. Emma was trying to extract him when Salvatore's men caught her. She managed to signal her team before they took her phone, but now both your children are trapped inside that mill. I straightened up, feeling the old soldier in me awaken fully. So what's the plan? Tom opened the back of his truck, revealing tactical gear and weapons. Emma's FBI team is positioning around the mill now. They need someone who knows the old building's layout to guide them in. And the documents Salvatore wants? Marco asked. I patted the waterproof pack. I have them right here, but they're not what he thinks. For the first time in decades, I felt a sense of purpose flood through me. My children weren't just in danger, they were fighting, and they needed their father. Tom, give me that radio. I need to speak to whoever's in charge of this operation. As Tom handed me the radio, the first rays of sunrise broke over the trees. Birds began to sing, unaware of the battle about to unfold. I thought of Emma and Michael inside that mill, surrounded by killers, still believing in justice after everything they'd seen. I'd spent decades trying to leave the war behind me. Now, for my children, I would become Captain Miller one last time. The old mill stood silhouetted against the pink morning sky, its broken windows like dark, watchful eyes. I crouched behind a rusted tractor, my bones protesting the position. Through my binoculars, I could see movement inside, shadows passing by the windows on the second floor. Agent Rodriguez, the FBI team leader, whispered in her radio, "All units in position. Awaiting your signal, Captain Miller." The title felt strange after so many years. I'd gone from Captain to Mr. to just plain old James. Now I was leading people into danger again. "Remember," I said into the radio, "there's an underground passage from the mill wheel pit to the manager's office. That's our best entry point." I adjusted my grip on my old service pistol and tried to calm my racing heart. 20 yards away, FBI agents in tactical gear waited behind trees and abandoned farm equipment. They looked so young, like the boys I'd led across French Field a lifetime ago. Inside that building were my children. My Emma, who I'd taught to fish in the creek behind our farm. My Michael, who I'd pushed away with my stubbornness. Both of them braver than I ever gave them credit for. "I can see Salvatore," the spotter reported. "Main floor, northeast corner. He's with 4 men. Michael is with them." I raised my own binoculars. Through a broken window, I spotted Vittorio Salvatore's silver hair. He paced back and forth, gesturing angrily. Michael stood nearby, his face carefully blank, playing his role until the end. "Second floor, southeast room," another agent reported. "I have visual on Agent Miller, Emma. 2 guards with her." I felt a surge of fatherly pride mixed with fear. My daughter was up there, probably looking for a way to turn the situation to her advantage, just like I would have done. "Package is ready," Tom said, joining me behind the tractor. He held out a battered metal case, the one Salvatore believed contained the documents about his father. "Let's hope our little surprise works," I muttered. The plan was simple but dangerous. I would approach the mill alone, appearing to surrender with the documents. The case, however, contained a smoke device that would create confusion, allowing the FBI team to storm the building from multiple entry points. "It's time," Agent Rodriguez said, checking her watch. I took a deep breath and stood up, case in hand. "Remember, my children's safety is the priority," I reminded her. "We'll get them out, sir," she promised. The walk across the open ground to the mill felt endless. Gravel crunched under my boots. Morning dew soaked the tall grass around the path. A fox watched from the edge of the woods, as if sensing the coming chaos. At the main door, one of Salvatore's men patted me down, taking my visible pistol but missing the smaller one hidden at my ankle, just as I'd hoped. "You're late, farmer," he sneered, pushing me inside. The mill's interior smelled of damp wood and rust. Machinery that once ground wheat into flour stood silent and decaying. Salvatore waited in what used to be the loading area, sunlight streaming through holes in the roof above him. "Captain Miller," he said, his voice echoing in the large space. Finally, Michael stood off to one side, his hands bound in front of him. Our eyes met briefly, and I saw a flash of warning there. "Where's my daughter?" I demanded. Salvatore snapped his fingers, and 2 men appeared on the upper walkway, pushing Emma ahead of them. She looked unharmed but alert, her eyes scanning the room, noting exits and threats, just as I'd taught her without realizing it. "The documents," Salvatore demanded, holding out his hand. I placed the case on a dusty table between us. "It's all here. Everything about your father, the intelligence operation, the gold. Let my children go." Salvatore smiled coldly. "Open it. Release them first. You are not in a position to negotiate, Captain." He gestured, and one of his men pressed a gun to Michael's head. With deliberate slowness, I unlatched the case and lifted the lid. Salvatore leaned forward eagerly. That's when I pressed the hidden switch. The case erupted with thick white smoke, instantly filling the open space. I dropped to the floor as shouts and confusion erupted around me. The sound of breaking glass and splintering would fill the air as FBI agents poured in through windows and doors. FBI, nobody move. Through the thinning smoke, I saw Michael head but his surprise guard and roll away. Emma had already taken down one of her captors and was wrestling with the second. Gunfire erupted from the corner where Salvatore had been standing. I crawled toward the sound, drawing my hidden pistol. Through the chaos, I spotted Vittorio raising his gun, aiming directly at Michael, who was helping an FBI agent subdue one of the guards. Without hesitation, I squeezed the trigger. The sound was deafening in the enclosed space. Salvatore's gun clattered to the wooden floor. He looked at me with shock and hatred before collapsing. "Dad!" Emma's voice called out. I turned to see my daughter running toward me, her FBI vest dusty but intact. Behind her, Michael was getting to his feet, eyes wide with disbelief. For a moment, we just stared at each other. The farmer who had been a soldier, the son who became an undercover agent, the daughter who followed a path so similar to my own. Then Emma threw her arms around my neck, and Michael joined the embrace. I held both my children for the first time in years, feeling their hearts beating against mine. "You never were just a farmer, were you, Dad?" Emma asked, pulling back to look at me with new respect in her eyes. I shook my head slowly. I thought I could leave it all behind. Thought I could protect you both by keeping you away from that part of me. Michael's hand gripped my shoulder. "We needed to know who you really were. Maybe then we wouldn't have had to find our own ways into this life." Around us, FBI agents secured the mill, leading handcuffed men outside where more law enforcement vehicles were arriving. Agent Rodriguez approached us. "Captain Miller, we found documents in Salvatore's office, evidence of weapons trafficking linked to former Nazi sympathizers. Your son's undercover work and your daughter's investigation have broken open a case we've been building for years." I looked at my children with wonder. The metals might be ashes in my burned barn, but my greatest legacy stood before me. "I'm sorry I wasn't honest with you both," I said quietly. "Some wars never really end. I thought I could keep mine buried." Emma smiled, wiping dust from my cheek. "Maybe now we can all stop fighting alone." As we walked out of the mill together into the bright morning light, I realized that some battles end not with a surrender, but with the truth finally coming to light. And sometimes, the bravest thing a soldier can do is to lay down the weight of secrets he's carried for too long.